Thank you. Thank you. No, you're too kind. Stop it. No. Slater Kenny, that's what you just heard. Old hour gone, new hour in at KRFF 95.9 LPFM Moorhead, Fargo, RadioFreeFargo.org. Go there, listen to old shows, listen to some shows, donate a little something to us. We appreciate everything we can get, and we bring a radio station that deserves your money, I like to think. And noon to 3, Side Stage with Trav is an example. We got automation from 3 to 4, and then bingity bangity, you got your boy Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday, 4 o'clock. We open up a stinky bag of cannabis news at 4:20. This Thursday's no different, except it's the first Thursday in the new year, 2021. We made it, huh? Welcome to Fargo, and from where you're listening, shout out to you. This is a show we cover cannabis. C is for cookie and cannabis, and we're going to talk about the positivities of cannabis this whole hour. The whole hour. I'm going to be like, yeah, cannabis is good. You're like, you mean it's bad? No, it's good. This is the pro-cannabis hour. And I'm going to plug cannabis because it's important. You know, it's one of the most important things, you know, that could be happening in our civilization, because it's high time. Because, man, when I get ready to tell you what I'm going to tell you, I'm thinking of calling this number. Mobile Mental Health Crisis Response Number, 1-800-233-4512. And if you ain't gotten something to hold on to, you should maybe give them a call. You know, because sometimes when we lack stability in the future, mental health numbers are important. Also, the New Life Center helps people who are homeless and hurting go from merely surviving to truly thriving. Their aim is to help people in need discover value and find hope. The New Life Center has evolved into a multifaceted emergency and crisis service center. To learn more about NLC, visit their website at www.fargonlc.org or give them a call at 701-235-4453. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's me. Cannabis legalization. New year. We're going to get all that discussed. No question about it. Canna-Talk ND on YouTube. We'll give you this show minus the music tomorrow, and a couple little extra hand claps for Philip Canna-Head Pilko, who gets all that stuff working and making me look good. So thank you. He does Canna-Heads on Sunday, Canna-Talk ND. Go check that out. ND for Freedom, Committee for Compassionate Care. You got Leslie over there, and we're getting, and we'll talk about it here in the next break, but we've got medical cannabis issues that's going to be discussed in the legislative session that began yesterday, I guess. But to kick off the new year, I thought, hey, let's play some old music. You know what I mean? So, everybody, here's Stand, REM. Here it comes. You know it's coming. Place where you are, Stand, REM, 1988, the Green Remastered album. And we're standing right in the middle of Fargo, North Dakota. I'm not lying to you one bit. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson here on Radio Free Fargo, 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. You can go there, listen to this show. You can donate. You can do everything you want, and you can just make us happy. You know, help us keep going. It's a new year, new leash on life. And cannabis legalization should go along with the ride. In fact, it should be up in the front seat, helping you drive to get us where we need to be. So anyway, we're going to talk about cannabis legalization. We're going to tell you the Canna-Talk ND on YouTube. You can go check that out. ND for Freedom, you can go listen to that stuff too. And I'm glad everybody showed up here. I'm happy all you all are here. Welcome to each and every one of you. I just wanted to mention that when the legislative session begins, there's 4 bills in the work. I got this. Thanks from Committee for Compassionate Care, Leslie Ann Paulson. I thought, hey, we got a few minutes. I'll go ahead and talk about these things. It may have extended, there might be more things, but the medical aspect this year going into the legislative session is they want to eliminate juvenile THC cap. Children's products are too weak and expensive for most patients. And so that makes sense to me. And increased caregiver numbers, 2 purchasers, 5 dosers. Current single caregiver limitations very discriminatory to some of the people who would most benefit. Children of divorced parents, those in group home skilled care facilities, it is impossible to provide adequate cannabis treatment. And then, of course, patient home grow, caregiver grow, and then possible patient protections bill, which gives access to labs. And so that's what they're going to get done. Thank you, Committee for Compassionate Care, and thank you, people connected to Leslie Ann Paulson, for making sure that our patients, and I'm definitely one of them, benefits from your tenacity and your doot. So we thank you. And Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. It's 420 degrees here in the studio. Of course, I'm dressed appropriately. I hope you guys are as well. I don't know. We're creaming up on it. I'm going to blow up a double shot here. It's not even a double shot. It's two different people. But I got John Fogerty and his family. It's kind of like it's become old Fogerty and the people that are, young enough to play something. He's kind of just sitting there, just kind of, he's almost like a marionette. But anyway, we got a little new John Fogerty. Then we're going to play, because it's the new year, Susan's House by the Eels. And then we're going to come back, and I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff about cannabis and cannabis legalization in other states and where we're at here in North Dakota and what you can do to promote and push cannabis legalization. If anything, it's just, telling your aunt about some CBD lotion she can rub on her butt. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, but Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday, 4:20, we open a bag of cannabis news. This Thursday's no different. It's the first Thursday of the year. Canna-Talk ND is an hour devoted to legalist cannabisation. You know what I mean. But anyway, let's get a little tune going here, and then at the end of this, it'll be time to discuss cannabis in a positive light. Here's John Fogerty. Going over to Susan's House, Eels. That's off the Beautiful Freak, 1996. Then that was brand new Fogerty Blue Boy. And that's like every last one of his kids. And then I think he's got some grandkids in there as well. And so hello, everybody. We're about ready to get into it. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. I get in here at 4:20. We open a bag of cannabis news. And that is no different this Thursday. And I'm just going to say a bunch of words that don't matter here for a few odd seconds, and then we're going to go into the intro. Then on the other side of it, I'll be like, hey, we made it. And then I'll talk about cannabis in a positive light and in all the states where we got news going. It's going to be really exciting. And next Thursday, I won't be here. I'm going to do a pre-recorded. I'm not sure which one yet, maybe the easiest one to do. And I will be in Mexico. I've got a meeting with the dentist January 13th, 10 a.m. over in Mexico. So get the rest of my dentist work and then do a little sightseeing. You know what I mean? Maybe smack a pinata, But anyway, it's about 4:20. So let's hear RadioFreeFargo.org. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Here's the intro. We're going to do a little cannabis discussion.
Yo, it's Wilson from Canna-Talk ND. The super awesome show you're getting ready to listen to. I think you should go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll wait. Okay, enjoy the show.
You know how they do it. Still kind of in the background, because that's kind of like how hip it is, how hip I am. Cannabis legalization, it's happening. It's happening all over. We're going to talk about it here. RadioFreeFargo.org, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Let's go to Nebraska first. And anyway, this is the group Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana. They're on Facebook. And this is the Omaha World Herald. Nebraska voters would decide whether to legalize marijuana under proposed constitutional amendment. So here's what's happening. Okay, well, anyway, Nebraskans, they had 200,000 signatures. They were ready to rock, and then they pulled some hinkiness, which we can talk about, but it tossed the issue off the ballot because it violated the Nebraska Constitution's requirement that ballot initiatives stick to a single subject. And that came right on whatever. But anyway, the legislative proposal from State Senator Justin Wayne of Omaha comes as an advocacy group seeking legalization plans to collect signatures that, if enough were collected, would also allow voters to decide whether to legalize cannabis for both medical use. So anyway, what's happening is it looks like this guy, Justin, is going to be able, the lawmakers advance the proposal. The issue would appear on the ballot. So if the state lawmakers advance the proposal, which seems unlikely, the issue would appear on the ballot in 2022. So Nebraska voters would be asked to legalize marijuana for all Nebraskans 21 and over. Anyway, the legislative proposal, like I said, comes as an advocacy group seeking legalization plans. And so these guys they're fired up, and they're going to keep trying to do what this needs to be done. They had collected enough signatures to put it on the medical marijuana ballot in November, but 2 months before that, that's when the state Supreme Court tossed the issue off the ballot, ruling that it violated Nebraska Constitution requirement the ballot initiative stick to a single subject, which I always rail on the fact that that was pointed out by a cop, who I wouldn't know that a cop should be all up on his ballot initiative single subject rules, so it's kind of like make things that make you go, that was the guy that got this thrown out by Supreme Court. And then nobody else thought, hey, maybe this violates the single subject. So it seems like a last-ditch effort for cops to keep their money happening, to keep the influx of the, like the small cannabis charges. You don't really, you can still tell your boss, he won't get mad at you. It's not so much where you have to, sell your house. Just like a little inconvenience. They're like, now you be better next time and kick us down 200 and you can go on and, everything will be cool. Except cannabis shouldn't have any sort of conflict behind it or money involvement, revenue. Revenue shouldn't come because, again, they need to be after other people. So anyway, Nebraska, it looks to me like what I gather from that is that this guy is going to push it in, and then they wouldn't have to get the signatures. It would just automatically go on the 2022 ballot, is how that goes. So so that's what legislators could do legislatively here in North Dakota. They could submit that, get it on, pass through some committees and, go through the House and then go through the Senate, that it could make it, on the ballot without us having to get signatures. And this is, in North Dakota, but I'm talking about Nebraska. Now, dozens of Iowa Democratic officials push for marijuana legalization in 2021. And as somebody who looks at legalization and stuff, it's kind of interesting because you just forget, about these states. Now, of course, Iowa Democrats said Wednesday that they want to legalize cannabis and regulate it at the same level as alcohol. So far, no Republicans who hold a majority in the legislature have publicly supported the measure. And there's even a part of me that thinks every once in a while, is it not good? You know what I mean? I start getting these maybe you're pushing a funny cart up a hill, but I just know cannabis has so many. I mean, if it'll cure a rash, it shouldn't be illegal. You know what I mean? If it'll run funk off my big toe faster than Yosemite Sam on a boop-a-doop-boop-boo, I don't know. I don't know. I think we're treating it wrong. I think we need to educate ourselves so we can educate others, so it doesn't have to be this right or left kind of thing. It's just for the good of the people. Amen. Can I get it? Can I get an amen from the group? Just everybody in the group, less divisive. And it's just, everybody understands that it's a good idea, because when there's one side that doesn't think so, well, it breeds doubt, even in me, even in somebody who believes in what he's doing. So anyway, let's get out there. Let's do it. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday, 4:20. We open a bag of cannabis news, and it's no different now. We're just, I suppose this is the first group of news in 2021. So anyway, let me keep going here. Nearly 40 Democrats, ranging from city council members to Iowa state senators, signed on in support of legalizing the possession of small amounts of marijuana and expunging the criminal records of Iowans who have been previously charged in misdemeanors for marijuana possession. Democrats are proposing 3 bills, one that establishes cannabis regulations that are similar to alcohol, and then a second bill that eliminates criminal penalties. Supporters said legalizing marijuana is a step towards addressing the racial inequity Black Iowans face in the state's criminal justice system. Lynn County Supervisor Stacy Walker said Black Iowans are more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession than their white peers, even though they use it at the same levels, which we've seen that all the way up and down the board. The ACLU of Iowa released a report in April that showed Black Iowans are 7 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession based on national law reference data. So I think it's pretty obvious. Cannabis legalization, anti-cannabis people, racist, and it's the easy it's just, again, I get fired up, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But what I'm just saying to you is there's already movement in the legislative sessions. There's already, it was like they planned, like so-and-so planned. He had the bill wrote up, Jason in Nebraska. He was ready, he put his little suit on, he scooped-de-doop-doop-dooped over to the, to the Capitol building. He goes in to the admissions lady, and he goes, I'd like to submit this bill. Not tomorrow, not later in the session, now, And so that's the thing. I've already got news. Top Kentucky lawmakers open to medical marijuana, but sour on governor's plan to tax it. Which, again, I'm definitely for this. But again, I think medicines have been made unattainable for the people who need it. Like if you don't have insurance and you go to the hospital, instead of your bill reflecting how little money you had, right? If you don't have insurance, your bill is skyrockets. I went in for a little problem. I probably discussed it back in the day, of a personal nature, and I had to have it looked at. Found out it was just like a varicose vein, right? $613. I mean, there's no way I could pay that. And if I had insurance, it might be lower. But if you don't have insurance, it should be even lower still. It's almost like they gouge you if you can't pay. And that's horrible. So I'm saying medically, cannabis should be looked at the same way. But again, I think we should all be trying, our fellow bro man, our brother, helping everybody up. I got you. Get him looked at, Like I'm saying, bring the Good Samaritan thing back. Because if you'll reach out, well, then you'll reach out. And we've got less people reaching out. So holler if you're with me. Let's hug somebody for cannabis. But anyway, Kentucky legislative leaders said in a recent joint interview that they're open to considering legalizing cannabis during the state's 30-day lawmaking session that kicked off this week. So that must be what it's called, the 30-day lawmaking session. Boy, oh boy. But legislators from both parties pushed back against the plan by Governor Andy Beshear that would impose a tax on the drug. They saying, quote, if you're taking that approach, that it's a money generator, then you're not thinking about the medicinal or therapeutic value. President Robert Stevers said, imposing a tax on marijuana genuinely intended for medical use, he added, would be treating it differently than any other drug, which in and of itself is wrong. And I agree, but I mean, you are imposing tax on medical stuff. I mean, what is the inflated bill if that's not happening? Anyway, this guy's a longtime skeptic of medical marijuana, said he's been recently been convinced of THC's therapeutic benefits in certain treatments, although he stopped short of supporting legalization this session. I'm not opposed to it, he said, but I really think the lead, and I hate doing this, needs to come from the federal government. And I don't know, I mean, why? Why do we need the lead from the federal government? Because you don't want to do it? Like, is it, you can say that, and then if you say it convincingly enough, we'll be like, yeah, it's probably just, the lead should probably just come from the federal government. You don't worry about it, Kentucky. Sit back down. Let's wait for the lead. Well, I mean, man, oh man, Kentucky, why don't you be the lead? Why don't you say stuff like, well, if we could have depended on the government to take the lead, we wouldn't be here taking the lead. And that's what's happening. I mean, how many states does that have to happen? Because in North Dakota, cannabis needs to be legalized, mostly because I would imagine that a lot of people that need it medically for all kinds of ailments don't have insurance, blah, 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 and don't have the money to pay a gouged, inflated, you don't have any, medical assistance. Because I'm telling you, if I'd had insurance and I'd had some third party I could funnel my bill off to, I'd pay $50. But since I, fall through the cracks and I don't have any real insurance, $630 some dollars. Well, I mean, that's backwards. So I think cannabis should be dealt with that way too. Understand its importance, and then understand people's ability to be responsible, and then let this, because if you put money in it, then greed starts to run. Then you start getting like sales pitches. Oh, this CBD is amazing. It'll do. Well, you just want me to buy it. You know what I mean? You just want to pay the inflated price at the truck stop. So that's what I don't like. I don't like it, like kitschy. It becoming just like a trend that's going to get your, pocketbook moving. And so all these people are just, like I said, you got, who knows what those CBD packets are in the truck stop. I've tried them, but I don't know. It comes from somebody who probably doesn't care and isn't involved in the process, which is what needs to happen now with the legalization and stuff. So maybe, you talk about federal lead. I would think like a state would be more personally involved in their constituents to where they should be doing it, and then federally kicking them up some money maybe. You know what I mean? But anyway, this guy, Senate Minority Floor Leader Morgan McGarvey, said in an interview this week that it's past time for medical marijuana in Kentucky and urged his colleagues to simply allow a legislative bill to come and vote this session. And Kentucky, has hemp legalized, so it seems like, and the CBD-derived hemp, it does definitely have medical benefits. So that's just that. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, 4:20, we open a bag of cannabis news, and this Thursday is no different. We smack dab in the middle of a Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We talk about cannabis in a positive light, and I'm kind of just sharing with you what's kind of happening, getting rolling. We got like I said, I'll read a little more. Dozens of Iowa Democratic officials push for marijuana legalization. Top Rhode Island senator backs private cannabis sales model as another lawmaker puts 95% odds on legalization. Connecticut Governor renews pledge to pursue marijuana legalization in 2021 State of the State speech. Virginia lawmaker introduces bill to legalize marijuana in 2021. And so that's what I'm saying. You feel me? That's what you read the next day. That's what's happening in the new year, and that's pretty stinking awesome. So I was just thinking here, because it is a new year, and I got to thinking about cannabis and, stories and whatever. And I remember winter of 95 into 96 New Year. So it was New Year's Eve, 95, Washington State. I had been there for, I don't know, maybe about a year at that point. Me and a buddy just drove out there. He had parents that let me stay in the back room or whatever. And so anyway, there was a place called Issaquah Falls, and that was north of Seattle, up in the mountains, Issaquah. It was pretty kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. Like I remember when we drove into this place where this person lived, you could hear the water dripping off the trees, and it had just like this mossy, wet kind of vibe, like drip, 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 drip kind of feel. And I remember seeing this Volkswagen that had been there so long, like a tree trunk had kind of grown through it. So that's kind of where we were going, up in there to spend New Year's Eve at this guy's place. I've never met him before. I was told that, he was a grower. He was like a little farmer out there. He had a little shed, and then he had a little cabin with like a loft that he played Tori Amos cassettes up there, and we all like grooved out to it. But anyway, my point is I remember him having a bunch of brownies. It was like the first time I'd eaten a brownie that, well, had an effect, but actually just didn't taste like you were eating a big bag of grass, and I remember seeing the butter that he used to make the Betty Crocker brownies, so it was like my brain was flipped then because I didn't realize that this was a guy that knew how to make edibles, and I was going to be able to benefit from that. That was winter of 95. And I don't recall any time before that edibles existing, I don't even think they were festival pushed at that point. I don't even know if Fish was kicking down the brownies in 95. Now, I could be wrong, of course. I probably am. But my point is I just remember that was the first time playing Oregon Trail and enjoying myself. I don't remember how the game even went. But I remember like my toes were, were under. My whole body was like, I had tracers, and that had never happened before. And it was casual, and the food was good. I remember the next day we had to drive back through Seattle back, and I had to work somewhere. And I remember seeing the pan. I was like, well, what are you going to do with the rest of the days? He's like, well, go ahead. So I remember eating one really fast, eating another one, and then missing the exit in Seattle. People were hollering at me, you know how that goes. But I just thought, hey, I could share a little story. That was the winter of 95. And boy, we've came a long ways. And again, Washington wasn't even legal then either. Seems to me like Alice in Chains was still hanging around. I don't know. But anyway, cannabis, we got to get it legalized. Talk to your representative. And because if you can push them, they can be just like these. I just read Virginia lawmaker introduces, governor renews pledge, Rhode Island senator backs, like this is the stuff that's happening. So it's beautiful. Like I said, I'm flying next Tuesday. My plane flies out at 6 a.m. So, and I'm kind of a weirdo about strains and everything. And so my friend gave me this pocket guide to pot. It's got new strains and photos so I can, check stuff out while I'm on the plane. And I thought, well, hey, I'll just read a couple strains. Like there's let me see how many pages. There's many hundreds of pages. And so I'm just going to pick a couple. This one, and then you can, Google it for a pick. But anyway, this is called Black Tuna. The type is indica. The lineage is Arowana and lamb's bread. Lamb's bread is kind of, Bob Marley said lamb's bread was his favorite. It's a sativa. Anyway, so Arowana, lamb's bread cross. Common effects is euphoria, body buzz, couch lock. Top medicinal uses is insomnia and muscle tension, but the name is kind of weird, right? Black Tuna. I wanted to say that, named after a notorious group of marijuana smugglers called the Black Tuna Gang. This powerhouse strain gained instant notoriety throughout Canada for its amazing potency. Heavy couch lock with a full body buzz makes this knockout strain a heavy-hitting top strain for medical marijuana users. A side note, the leader of the Black Tuna Gang, Robert Platshorn, served one of the harshest imprisonments ever for marijuana charges, nearly 3 decades after being convicted in 1980 of smuggling over 500 tons of marijuana from Colombia to Miami from the mid to late 1970s. Shout out Robert Platshorn, man behind the Black Tuna. And so that's interesting, like you would think, oh, this cannabis probably, tastes like, what it is. But instead, it's an interesting little side note. So anyway, why don't I'll find you one more here, we'll read. Let's see. We'll go with the Holy Grail. It's a hybrid. It's a cross between kosher Kush and OG Kush. Smell, taste is pungent, spicy lemon. Common effects is uplifted, relaxed, cheerful. Top medicinal uses are stress and pain. It's won the Cannabis Cup and the Spanibus Cup, which, come on, Cannabis Spanibus. This top-rated Kush strain is considered by many to be one of the best hybrids ever cultivated. The dense buds are huge and full of resin. The complex aromas are pungent and powerfully pleasing, and the potent effects are mellow relaxation balanced with the uplifted cerebral. Just about every trait of this well-bred strain is as good as it gets, which is why it really is the holy grail of Kush. Here we got J1. This top-shelf sativa was made for the wake and bake session. These frosty buds have a dense stack structure with an aroma that mixes the best of both parents, resulting in a citrusy mint, and the parents are Jack Harris skunk number 1. The flavor is similar to the smell, with a pleasant, spicy aftertaste that comes as you exhale, which is ultra smooth. The effects come on fast with an uplifting rush, and that's about all I'm going to give you there, and we'll maybe look at that more next time. Anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday, Radio Free Fargo. .org. We are up to our nipples here in cannabis legalization discussion. We got a lot going on. I'm going to keep you up to date on the testing of that funny purple leaky weed, because, we still got to find out, So I'll keep you posted when we get the results so we can find out, what that is and how we can make the people that fronted that, accountable. If, in fact, it's just dye to make one kind into two kinds. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, I will keep you posted on that. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Canna-Talk ND on YouTube. So, tomorrow in the afternoon. And then I'm going to post up something later here where I have all the guests that I had on in a past one. I gave them the new fronts. Now I'm going to throw that up on a playlist so you can go check some of those out if you'd like. And so again, Commissioner for Compassionate Care, that's Leanne Paulson. Go check her out. And as soon as I know more, as we go into the legislative session, I will push it on to you guys as soon as I know more. And so we'll follow as closely as we can with what's going on in the Capitol in regards to cannabis legalization and medical. If we could get medical grow, that would be, we'd be well on our way to be doing right for our people. You know, if they can grow and choose how to deal with their harvested product any way they want, it would be beautiful, you know, and especially in, say, a small town garden kind of area, that would be even cooler, you know, where you could just have a community garden that had, you know, watermelons, you know, snap peas and cannabis. You know, one side could be CBD and, you know, the other side could be the other. But anyway, I'm just rambling. I wanted to mention that RadioFreeFargo.org is taking on underwriters. If you want to kick down some cash, we'll mention your thing. A pre-written deal. You know, I don't want to sound all professional, nor do I want to sound, you know, like I'm begging. Because it's just kind of, you know, this is kind of the moment where I would mention, if we had underwriters, I'd be talking about them right now. I'd be giving you their information, you know, what they're about, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm saying now is, if you were that person, this could be your spot right now. I would mention, again, your contact information, what you're about, you know, all that sort of stuff. And then I would mention that here at 45 after the hour. And we would all do that, you know. So RadioFreeFargo.org, Radio Free Fargo on Facebook and those areas, just reach out. Somebody will swoop in to take care of you, I can assure you. And Canna-Talk ND with Wilson wouldn't be here if it wasn't for, you know, the generosity of people and for the awesomeness of this station. So Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. We are wrapping it up now, and we're going to go to some music here in just a second. But if you're interested in being an underwriter and following, you know, in the progress of this station, which, you know, when you look back at the history, it's pretty stinking awesome. You know, how it's a little station that could. And we're not stopping. And just like Alice in Chains, would you? So anyway, let's get into some tunes. This is called Liberty Bell by Dark Side. And okay, we're back. No, I wasn't sidetracked or anything. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, we open a bag of cannabis news at 4:20, and it's no different today. If you just tuned in, you missed it. But you come on back here next Thursday at 4 o'clock, or in fact, come at noon. You got Side Stage with Trav every Thursday, noon, 2, 3. We got automation between 3 and 4. And then Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, pro-cannabis legalization hour, where we discuss the benefits of cannabis as far out as, you know, say, Jerusalem, all the way here to North Dakota, and we cover it all for you. And Canna-Talk ND on YouTube tomorrow. This will be out. ND for Freedom, check that out. Committee for Compassionate Care on the medical angle. You can reach out to her. RadioFreeFargo.org. You can go and donate. And we wish that you would. I won't be back next Thursday. I'll be in Mexico getting my dental work done, so I'm excited about that. I fly out next Tuesday, so wish me well, and I will, now I can hear the whistle in my headphones, but you might not be able to. And let's see, I think I've about wrapped it up, I'd say. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing you 2 Thursdays from now with a new mouth. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson is going to have a new mouth. And you heard Liberty Bell. That's the dark side. And then we got Stanley Bird Dog Mouth. He's an oyster. That's from the Kindle Street Company. One of my personal favorites. Shout out Skyler in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And anybody else that might know me, hello. Or should I say hi? But anyway, I'm about ready to put my seatbelt on here and shoot out of the studio, which it's 420 degrees. Always here, I'm dressed appropriately. I'm about ready to shoot out the window. I don't even take the stairs when I leave the studio. I don't know if you guys know that. I just go right out through the window. And then that's how I come back. You just, you're in here, all of a sudden, boom, I'm sitting on the ledge. You're like, what? Through the window. But anyway, educate yourself and then educate somebody else about the benefits of cannabis. And together we can get this thing legalized. I'm out of here again next Thursday, noon to 3. You got Side Stage with Trav, automation. then 425er, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. But until then, I'm out of here.